PMac movies back after a long day of work. Very sleepy. But Thursday is the day of the live, I guess the night of the live streams, because my Fridays tend to be nice and easy. Actually, I've been making a lot of live streams lately. Let's see who comes in. This is probably just going to be a brief one. Man, I feel I feel like I need to catch up on some sleep, which hopefully I can do this weekend, which might cut into my movie watching time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Who's in the hizzy? Who's in the hizzy? We got 3 in here. I'm like groggy. I'm so tired. This is probably going to be a brief one. John Hamm up in the hizzy. John, I was trying to reach out to you. Do you have an Instagram? I'm doing okay, just really sleepy. Did you say you emailed me before? Because I think it was you or somebody else, but I never got the email. Who else is in here besides John? I could say that I worked hard today and I'm tired, but it's pretty much I'm just tired. Like I didn't really have to do too much at work, but still tired. Oh, we talked before? Email me again, because I don't recall. Christopher from in the hizzy. What's going on, Chris? Oh. Well, email me again like now so I can see who you are. I can look back through our conversations. Just stopping in to check out PMac, getting ready for Black Friday. You're talking about, Chris? See, this year's gonna be different for Black Friday because there's just so few movies released. Matt Monty, beer me some Thursday night PMac. You've been beard. Probably not going to be a long one because once Charmy comes up, I'm turning this off. Yeah, there wasn't enough new stuff to make Black Friday too exciting, and I did get some with other sales and things like that, so yeah, it's not going to be a great one, but though, it's probably going to be the boutique sales is really where it's at, but I mean, even with that stuff, I have a lot of it already. There's, Kino has a lot of stuff I could probably still want that hasn't reached my price point. R&D Studios in the hizzy, what's up? I think at this point on PMac movies, I made a point over the last, I don't know if it's months or year or whatever, to just, I'm not just going to be making movie videos, and I want my audience to be people who I can discuss things with and who maybe have similar points of view. And in doing so, I have alienated myself from people who get offended by those sort of perspectives. So it's important that, like, the people that are still here, we have, like, you know, uh, closer relationships, because it's not going to be a lot. There's just too many people that drop out, and that's fine. Um, and people feel like, because of how I talk, that I'm a know-it-all, or I think I'm better than other people, and maybe I can come across like that. However, I'm just, I guess I'm confident in my beliefs and my opinions, and I think, it can come across to people in like a negative know-it-all type of light, like, oh, you think you know it. Well, I've been researching things for 8 years, and I'm not, and it always adapts over time. Like, if I take in new information and I kind of think, was my previous belief, was that not quite right? So that's like the opposite of a know-it-all. I'm always trying to learn more. um so I don't know, I think just how I talk rubs some people the wrong way, and some people agree with it. um and at some points, I've also tried to make a little money off the channel, because I am putting time and effort into it. And those two things don't go together. They actually go against each other. Me sharing my opinions, and then me trying to make a little bit of money, not much. Those are at conflict, because the way to make money would be to say things that are pleasing to everyone and not alienate anyone, and make everybody happy, and just be about the entertainment, be about the movie collecting and talking about movies, and all that stuff. But I see some of you are saying, like, be yourself, stuff like that, and that's what it is. I can't not talk about things that are important. And then with this CV thing that's come up, that became even more of a important thing to, I can't shut my mouth. Do I want to make a little bit of money to help out or whatever? Of course, but am I going to throw a lot of that away in order to hopefully connect with some people, maybe even help, I don't know if wake ups, you can't really wake up people, but you can at least throw ideas out there that maybe they're like, that sounds interesting. I'll look into that. Geriatric Geek into hizzy. There's my man. What's up, Bill? Thanks, Chris. And we don't always have to agree, but we can at least still be respectful. I'm not saying that I'm always respectful all the time either, but I do try to be much of the time. Um, Even if people disagree on something, it's always worth it to see their side of things and why they feel that to, that way today's environment doesn't encourage honest back and forth discussion. Yeah, it ends up in name calling. Jesse Swarbrick says, "You are a critical thinker like me," and yeah, it's great to have some of you guys in here that are critical thinkers. Hi, Kenny. John says most typical movie channels, the people smile all the time and are upbeat and go with the grain. They're all about wide appeal and being agreeable. Yeah, and to get a large audience, to get a bigger audience, to do things more in that direction of me trying to grow my channel and make money and get people here and all that stuff. That was the direction that I would have had to have went. Um, and I couldn't do it. And my subscribers have pretty much leveled out. a little bit over 2,000, where other YouTubers, blue tubers subscriptions keep going up and stuff. But that's the choice that I had to make, and that's just the way it is. That's a choice that I did make. R&D Studios, it's the internet. It's difficult to have a civil conversation. Yeah, it's a shame though. Greg asks, "What are you watching tonight?" Well, we've been watching Arrow, the TV show. We're on season 6. Arrow, I believe 8 was the final season, and that's the one I need to get on Black Friday for $10 from Best Buy on Blu-ray. I also have the Foils War DVD, which me and Charmaine were watching. We finished the first movie. They're like basically, it's a TV show, but it's like movies. Like I think they're 100-minute episodes, or so they're basically like movies. Each one's a movie. And we were watching the second one last night when I fell asleep. John Ham says, because people aren't face to face, they think it's acceptable to treat a random internet stranger any way they feel like. Yeah. Greg says, which is the best Finger Lake to visit? I can't really answer that one. I don't know. Yo, PMac, are you getting stress or something? I mean, when you shared opinions on here and people don't like your opinions, and then it gets to more like personal stuff, like it gets ridiculous. You know, and it's you really just gotta stay out of stuff, because then people can start just, you know, saying whatever they want. Um, but that's, I mean, that stuff isn't. I kind of got to focus on my own thing more or less, and not focus on nonsense. I just got to focus on my own thing. I did not vote. I shan't vote. I will not vote. That's my choice, to not vote. And it's the right choice. It's not what you're told, and there's so much repetition about voting, vote, vote. And it doesn't even make sense. Like, your voice, like, use your voice. You're not using your voice to vote. Like, there's two options. There's only two possibilities that could get in. There's like, but it's a constant argument with people. Like, you either see it the way I do or you don't, and most people don't. So there are a fair amount of people that do. I see it as more of a spiritual thing. I do not accept that authority over me. I do not spiritually accept that authority that they claim to have over me. Now, if you vote, you're kind of, in doing that, you're consenting to their authority over you spiritually. You're making an agreement. Whether you realize it or not, you're making a contract or an agreement by voting. If nobody voted and nobody consented to the system, things would actually, I think, from my perspective, be very much improved. But what are countries? A country is an idea. A country doesn't really exist. It's an idea planted in people's head. Oh, I'm a United States citizen. Oh, they are a Canadian citizen. Oh, those people below us are Mexican citizens. What makes them that? Because they live in a certain area? It's just it's something that's it's an idea. It's not real, besides in people's minds. But this is just gonna be a another thing. Took the summer off from making YouTube videos. It can be tough to go against the crowd. Yeah, absolutely. The two-party system is broken when you get people like Trump, Biden, Hillary. Yeah, I mean, there's not, like John says, two fixed sides. Conservative limited government. Yeah, you'd want a small government. John says I'm a proud American but ashamed of my government for an entire lifetime. I just separate the two. The thing is when the world is separated into countries, your travel is restricted. You have to get a passport to go somewhere. You shouldn't have to get a passport to go somewhere. It should be free travel. People should be able to go where they want to go. You shouldn't have to have any sort of documentation, this and that. But again, that goes into other things like, oh, you can't trust these people. Oh, there's these people out there that would do this and but that's a whole debate for another time. There's just too much stuff. There's too many ways of looking at it. There's too many things to break down. This stuff is all conditioned into us and it's all we've ever known. So it's really hard to talk to people about it unless you go back to like the beginning of it and to getting into the whole idea of belonging to a country. Oh, we think we're better than this other country. And even sports is something that gets people programmed into these ideas. This team is mine. We're better than you. This and that. And you can see even with sports, something that really doesn't matter. I mean, in your life, it doesn't really matter, but it's programmed into people for it to matter, and then they get into it. And that's what Jesse says. It's called tribalism. That's exactly correct. Without law, society would break down. Society would break down now without laws because society has already gone a certain way. It's already gotten to this low point where it's at. But if you had a society where people were taught how to live properly, they were taught proper skills, they were taught proper respect, they had all their needs met, so they didn't have to do things like sell drugs for money, rob for money. All people's needs were met, which you could have a society like that. You wouldn't have to have strict laws because people would be peaceful and they would just, they would want to get along with each other. And generally, that is what people want. People generally, in general, just want to get along. Do you have sociopaths and narcissists and all that stuff? Yeah, but I think a lot of that does come from our environments. These the system and all those things. I mean, we're physically, I mean, I guess but I think that we're spiritually different than animals. I think there is something, a different spiritual component to a human, to a human being. You take a look at the movie Dances with Wolves, and I think there's some deeper level truths in there where Kevin Costner's character goes from being a person in the military to wanting to become more than that. He wants to spiritually evolve, and then the Native American guy says something like, you've become a true human being or something like that. And that's why that movie Dances with Wolves, that's a really powerful movie because could very well be about some spiritual elements there, that isn't necessarily made obvious in the movie, but the evolution of Kevin Costner's character in that movie and how it's like, we could look at it from our perspective too, as far as we have a focus on earning enough money to get these materialistic things and just having that mindset that is like the normal kind of American mindset versus what really makes somebody happy or what's really important in life, which a lot of that is about relationships. It's about a human connection. It's about connecting with yourself and finding a spiritual component in yourself through things like meditation and um, shutting off your anxieties in a way, shutting off your mind through meditation, which is very difficult to do. John says we are separated by our intelligence and spirituality, but that comes with much more responsibility. Into the Wild. Yeah, I really liked that movie when I watched it. It's been quite a while though, so I don't remember a ton of it, but yeah, that was a good movie. R&D says Into the Wild was a good film. Chris M was a mess though. Is that like the real guy from it? Pearl Jam. Did Pearl Jam make some of the music of it? I think that was directed by Sean Penn, I think. So when I hear Charmy come up here, I'm going to turn this off because we're going to kind of relax and watch something here. Actually, I think the good thing about me being tired is that while I can't articulating things sometimes is difficult, but if you're more tired, kind of things will just like pop out or come out freely. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting my thoughts together. Eddie Vedder wrote all the music. Okay. Yeah, Emil Hirsch is the main character in Into the Wild. John says the real story of Into the Wild, some say he went there foolishly and wasn't prepared at all, even with no map of the area. Yeah, I mean, these movies that try to present a true story, probably very, very little of them is actually true. There's a documentary on the guy. He ate bad berries, starvation. Yeah, I know, like, at the end of the movie, the way he passed away, it wasn't super fulfilling, but I guess it's more about the journey. Again, it's been a long time since I've seen that. Do I think that CV is not real? I mean, again, you can't say anything without the people who disagree with you getting up in arms about it. So how can you say anything like that question? I mean, is that question put out there just so you can like break down my answer, or is it like an actual question? Oh, we're gonna like, are you gonna ask the question just to put me in a spot where it's like, oh, this guy's this guy's crazy. John Ham says I always take true stories with a grain of salt and do my own research. Obviously, there's an overwhelming amount of things presented on the TV screen that cause people to think a certain way without any doubt. And it's been orchestrated so brilliantly that people don't even doubt it because how could, it's just totally accepted. There really is, there's no, I don't have any opinion on it. I know whether it is or not. But that is that Me saying that is going to trigger people. So it's like it's like you can't win, and I guess there's no point in trying to win. But see, the thing is, I've known for quite some time that sickness and illness does not work the way that we're told that it is. But that's a bigger topic that you need to look into. And I know because I've tested it, other people have tested it. They've done studies where a person was sick with a supposed virus, and in these studies they tried to pass it on to somebody else and they couldn't do it. But those aren't going to be things that come out in the mainstream. These are things that you have to dig into to research or hear people's firsthand um, stories. Is high cholesterol bad? No, I don't. Cholesterol is not all that they say it is. I mean, I don't know enough to really talk too much about it, but I've heard quite a bit that that's a really simplified thing. Like, oh, somebody has high cholesterol, that's bad. That's not necessarily the case. And I'm not saying that everything is a conspiracy. You have to look at each thing individually. John says you need healthy levels, and I think that's probably more accurate. I tend to think we need. I think that cholesterol is important. I don't think your body functions properly without the proper amount of cholesterol, and low cholesterol, I believe, can actually cause heart problems. But again, it's like you hear this area, you hear this area. It's hard to know exactly what to believe. So in some areas, you can only kind of speculate. The body produces cholesterol. We've been conditioned for decades. There's a reason why they call it television and programs. Yeah. They have been programming us to think a certain way. Out of the Shadows documentary explains. No doubt about it, we've been programmed. But I think when I talk about those sort of things on this channel, it really triggers people because they feel like I'm talking down to people because I'm confident in my beliefs about it. So it's tough. It's tough to talk about things without. You can't really make anybody feel something, but like people feel like you can make them feel something. So when I'm just coming up, when I feel like I'm just confident in my beliefs, I'm confident in my research. Um, People do feel like, oh, you think you're better than me? You talking to me? You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? No, I don't think I'm better than you. I'm sharing my strong beliefs based on years and years of research. Um, I am not trying to trigger people. I it just gets frustrating because I came from the normal way of thinking. I went to school, I graduated high school, I went to college, I graduated high school. I had to believe in the status quo to get through those things. I saw more once I got more into working. I saw more of how things actually work. When you're in school or when you watch the TV screen, you see a way that things work. That is not the way that things really work. Things work in a way to keep people hemmed in, to keep people stressed, to keep people struggling. And people that want to argue that, it's like, do you even realize how you're living? It's like, do you realize you shouldn't have to worry about all these little minute things that you worry about? Like, renewing licenses, renewing registration, do this, do that. You have to do this by this day. You have to do this by this day. You have to get this degree to be able to do this. You have to be able to go through the government to be able to sell this. You have to do all that stuff. You shouldn't have to do any of it. But people in their minds through brainwashing, it's like, you don't think that people should have to get a license for that? You don't think that people should have to get a doctorate to be able to do that? It would be chaos without the government protecting us. That's what people are taught, so that's what they think. They can't see that if you had an actual free society, people would be able to use their skills without all these things that all this red tape that you have to go through to get to where you want to go. You just do it. If I want to make something and sell it, just go do it. Why do you, oh no, you have to get a license for that. You have to get permission for that. You have to do this. You have to do that. You should be able to just do it. It's crazy, but that's again, it's a long conversation. Nick says he likes listening to Alex Jones. Alex Jones for me was like at the very beginning of getting into this stuff. Now, I mean, unfortunately he is part of the system. He works for Time Warner, Warner Brothers, or whatever. He's even been in some movies. If you find a YouTube channel you don't like, just move on. I can't figure out people that get triggered. The system is set up a certain way, like a rigged game. Yeah, of course. Reliance on the system, yeah. It's amazing to me, though, the more I see it. I think with what I do, I see it more, too, with some of the environments I've worked in. I see more about how things work and how the system is always consistently leading people to struggle. And that's what I see. I see it on a day-to-day basis. It's very blatant. What else we got here? My religious beliefs, my spiritual beliefs. I guess I'm undecided by a lot of things. I definitely don't think on an atheistic point of view. I'm definitely not like that. Like, we're here for something. Is it some sort of life test? That seems to resonate with me quite a bit, that this is some sort of life test. And if you don't pass the test, you very well may have to keep coming back and reincarnating until you pass the test. But I don't know. John Hamm says, we are actually giving money to the wrong people. We can't even take care of homeless and starving people. A lot of welfare goes to people who are fully capable of working. Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, but that's what the system wants. The system has created that situation, and it's escalating even more now with the CV stuff, where even more people are not working and are just getting handouts. But that's part of the plan. Charmy. Hey, Charmy. All right, guys. Charmy's up here. We'll see you next time.